because they were already in. But when we were saying about ending the technocracy, we were opening the space for new people to come, for new ideas to be presented, for new voices to gain governance. So yeah, I feel like there is this tension between these two ideas that is being presented, and I feel for my experience that if we would have like equal share for everyone, maybe yeah, there would not be so many like voluntary work and people from diverse positions joining. And yeah, that's my take. I think that somehow it feels like the idea of giving everyone an equal share does not match that much the needs that each one need yeah for getting a place and for having participation in this ecosystem. But I want to know, what do you think? So yeah, I am sharing the mic, and I want to know what Jess thinks about these faced positions of equality and equity.
Hi everybody, thanks Juan for inviting me to speak. I feel like I'm just jumping in a bit late, but I think I get the gist of what you're saying. You want my opinion on equality versus equity in the context of the current debate and the praise system analysis proposals, or in general, difference between equality and equity?
No, in this context, yeah, in this context, like yeah, my needs. I feel like my needs in this project were to gain a space of recognition, to place my ideas, also to have experience around these organizations, and also to have governance. But also I feel that like I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't be so helped and promoted from the system. Like if everyone would have received the same, I feel that maybe I wouldn't have gotten to be like a steward of a working group and leading my own ideas, because I feel that I have received a lot of incentives from the system. So yeah, the question is that are the incentives the same and the needs the same from newcomers and people who already had skin in the game?
Yes, there's so many areas to comment in, so I guess maybe I'll let a few others speak to reflect, because I feel like there's a lot of directions I guess this could go. I understand the context and what you're asking, but I think, yeah, I mean, there's past, present, and future. I think time is a bit of an aspect here. So I guess I'm still not quite sure what you're asking for comment on.
I could
Hey,
maybe.
can you mute? You have a lot of noise coming from your background.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna comment. It is raining here, so I apologize for that. Just real quickly, that I would just say, absolutely, I see that people who engage in those highly rewarded activities did so maybe because they had the needs, like that. That's why I appreciate it. I don't know. I guess that's all.
Carlos, can I ask you to share that? I don't see where I can find it.
Yeah, it's you jump into Gravity and you see the bot there, and it's the first link, the agenda notes.
Thanks.
Yeah, the agenda notes.
I guess what I can comment on in looking at what you're sharing here on the screen is ending technocracy isn't just about letting new people in, it's also the ability to modify the rules. And I think what Livia and I and Jeff and a few others in looking at, we ran this polycentric governance workshop, and I think it opened up a lot of our eyes, even on what we're going through now and what we're experiencing, and talking about the decision space. And I think this is kind of like the underbelly or the shadow side of democracy and what democracy really means. And it's not just access to voting, but access to how those votes are decided. And a lot of that requires a heavy understanding of the nuance surrounding these mechanisms and how these power systems operate and what people think is fair. And I think people's kind of assumptions, bias, expectations around what is fair. So like some people think agreeing on a certain set of rules in a process and then sticking to that for all of eternity is what's fair. Other people think that fair means that we can modify the rules, that we're open to new information. And I think it's a lot of these kind of biases and around some of these very big concepts that we need to unpack. And I think a lot of them tend to be oversimplified. And we need to really look at things as exploratory, experimental, and that there is no certainty. And also that this is an iterative process. And I think that being in the space that we're in and that these things are so nascent, I think also that we cannot get attached to really any of these processes or even some of this ideology because we are exploring. And I guess I'll give an example that we're realizing in talking about the decision space with the praise proposals. So a lot of this is happening very fast as well, and there's like a pressure edge to it. So, but yeah, like one person, one vote versus token weighting voting, in the context of the problem set. So yeah, I just think there's a lot of nuance here, and it's not just because we held a vote that things are fair. Some people think that way, but this isn't actually, I think, the complex system and reality that we're operating in when it comes to, we don't even have a lot of the tools that we really need for some of the things that we're trying to do. So we're trying to build it as we go. I just think there's a lot of complexity. And I think the attachment to any one system, process, or ideal here, and particularly in the context of an individual's gain or benefit or incentive in the system, is a challenge when we're in a space where we need the space to learn and experiment, and we need more objectivity. And that objectivity is difficult when an individual has a stake or an incentive or is concerned more with their own stake in the system rather than designing the best system possible. And again, we all have different ideas of what some of these things mean, and I don't claim that there is an ultimate truth or that I hold that truth, but I think it's very complex, and I think having this mentality and objectivity and less attachment, and that includes for myself, and some of it with money is rooted in the primordial reptilian brain and our conditioning to react rather than respond from a place of emotion or survival instinct, which is in our nervous systems. So those are some thoughts around recent experiences, and maybe
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, I can see from a newcomer, like, what are the needs? Like, from a newcomer, and I say this for myself, like I like being incentivized with recognition. Uh, with From a newcomer, I like being incentivized, like from a sense of belonging to the community. I like being incentivized with governance rights. But for me, like is that I am not in those shoes, and I would like to be more empathic to that. I would like to know what are the needs of people who has previous skin in the game. Like yeah, why someone who is already watching the game, or why someone who has like already skin in the game need yeah, more governance, or more recognition. Because like yeah, I mean I needed that recognition, and thanks to that recognition, I feel that I am in this space, and in this place. But yeah, I cannot be in those shoes, so I would like to hear a little bit more about that.
You're saying like people who have skin in the game, like for example, are you talking about in TEC, like people who have been here a long time that understand how things work, versus people just coming in, and what their needs would be as far as like how they like to be recognized, or are equal the needs between people? I mean, I guess one thing is like access to information or understanding. And I think too, like Dan has really good stuff on this with his octalysis framework that talks about motivation. And this octalysis framework, if you haven't seen it, Juan, is really cool because it talks about like all of these psychological motivations. It's basically like behavioral design and research, like gamification and behavioral design research. Like 2 decades of that went into this octalysis framework. So I think Dan would have some interesting reflections on this. I don't know if I can speak to that, but needs us having skin in the game, and like I've been in the TC since a long time ago. Is that what you're saying? Like, what would the needs be of maybe the stewards versus people who are coming in that are new?
And also people who are in spaces that are near the TEC, like the common stack, but that have been like, and are notable for their work that has been done over years.
Maybe the needs would be different around like information. I just feel like information's coming up for me. I feel like the challenge of people coming in is to understand what's going on and like have access to all the information, which is kind of impossible because that's like a time factor. But for people with skin in the game, theirs is like maybe they need curated information versus access to like the fire hose. They need curated information because maybe they're more busy or they have like many things going on. They kind of need like curation of information, and maybe like to be notified when they're needed, because maybe they're needed in multiple places. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I would like to share the mics also, because yeah, we are getting different points of view, and I really appreciate and thank you for what you're saying, because yeah, like for me it's something like when you have been in a place, you know how it feels. But like I have not been in that place, so for like yeah, I need to get related to how it feels. Yeah, and what are the needs that are in that place. So yeah, but it's very interesting. And I am trying to make this question like with an open mind to see like yeah, what are some ideas that can help us make some clearness or understand better the other and our own position in this issue. So yeah, if you want to pass it to someone, you're free. Yes, and we will continue like making some sense around what are the needs of the different people that participate in this project, because like feelings are the reflect of needs, and I feel that the discussion have turned around a lot, as you said, into like reactions or feelings, and my idea is to see behind those feelings what are the needs that are triggering this discussion, and like what does people really want? Does people want governance? Does people want because the TEC is a token that reflects, is an unity of measure, but what is the interest behind having that unit of measurement? What are we measuring? Are we measuring recognition, or it's all about governance, or is like is there an economic thing behind? Like we are just like trying to take out and to the layers that blur the issue, and trying to understand what are the needs, the human needs that move all these feelings around this discussion.
I'll pass it to Zepti, but can I reflect for 1 second on what you just said?
Please.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should answer what my needs are or answer to what Jess thinks about democracy. So, yeah, some guide on that. Juan?
Would you rather hear our individual needs or the needs of what we think these two different groups are needing?
Well, if the most honest are the individual needs, like the needs that one have. Like I can tell you my needs, and I don't know if that reflects to the whole group, but it's like my needs. My needs are recognition, and I feel that I'm getting that need met, and I also feel that I need that I want governance, and I also feel like within some of the proposals, like are like that is addressed. I also feel like that I need this sense of belonging, and I feel that the system is rewarding me that more than the number or the exact amount of the unit of measurement that we are talking about, the token, because it's just, the token is a symbol, but behind the symbol, what is that the symbol is measuring, and what is the need that symbol is helping to address? Yeah, that is the question. But I would like to pass to Griff.
Griff, you muted.
I thought Jess passed to Septimus.
Yeah, but also I heard Septimus that he didn't feel like
No,
much.
I'm fine. I'm just want to know if I should answer the arguments of Jess, or if I should answer like what are my needs.
Yeah, what are your needs?
Yeah, initially when I just joined TC, I would say my needs would be more like feeling like the work I do helps the world, because I was working for a bank, and I was feeling not that good, because like the business model and all that stuff, and I think they do wrong to the world. So, but I was still working on this because of the money, right? And yeah, I feel like joining and building in here it's awesome. So yeah, that was my initial need. Maybe I would say feel better. and I'll pass it to Tam.
My needs for this project. Sorry about that. I'm declining this call. What is a question that I want to answer, that wants to be answered here? There's so much said. My head is spinning a little bit. It's a little late for me to have these very deep, penetrating discussions. What should I answer? What my needs are?
Yeah, what are your needs in this project? And if you feel that the project is meeting your needs through the distribution of that is being done or the interventions that are proposed?
I feel like that's not the right question to ask. Let me start with my needs. I think my needs are to collaborate with smart, motivated people that have a lot of integrity and a good cohesion with each other, a good rapport with each other. And I think this is the community that meets those needs. There's something that I've thought about, just something that I really admire. And like today, I was thinking about this today. For anyone not familiar with this, it's a really touching story, actually. There's 2 US Supreme Court justices, night and day, couldn't be more different. Ruth Bader Ginsburg describes herself as like a, feminist liberal, and Anthony Scalia is like a stodgy old conservative. And they vote almost entirely different, at odds with each other, right? Scathing dissents of the other's verdicts. And you would think that they might have a cordial working relationship, but in fact, they had been very dear, very close friends, in so much as that their families knew each other. She's written things about him like his opinion is not fully baked. And he said things about her like, hey, what's not to love? Except everything she thinks about the law. So they have this real workplace contentious disagreement, but in a respectful way that makes each of them better and each of their arguments stronger. And that's where I need to be. That's one of my needs, is to be with a community whose way of disagreeing with each other is like Ginsburg and Scalia. It is well-informed, it is well-constructed, it is honest, it comes across with integrity, and it's nothing personal. And we get our families together at the end of it. And I would say that's something that I would say my need is met. Also, doing something that's never been done in the world before, that's my need. So, ingenuity and innovation is a need I have, and I would say this community really supplies that as well. And then for the token distribution, you read my proposal, my feeling. I would say it is really worth us making a decision now that is based on non-emotional and well-constructed, logical solutions. And I don't know that I have anything more to say about it now.
Okay.
So I'll pass to Nate, who always makes me sound stupid. So I don't know why I'm passing to him, but I'm going to pass to him anyway because I want to say.
Get out of here. That was beautiful. And no, I echo Tam's thoughts in a lot of ways. Like, in terms of like needs, though, it's just I don't know if I have any needs that I'm seeking to be met within this community necessarily. And if I do have needs, it's one of those things that's going to be resolved within the community and the relationships that I build myself. You know, it's kind of the interactions I have with each and every one of you. Like that's where my needs are going to be met. It's not going to be met through a system or any type of structural setup that we have with governance or any impact hours distribution or anything like that. My needs aren't tied to that. To me, separating those two things is very, very important because, you know, the cultural aspect and how we build this relationship allows us to get through things that are kind of flawed within the structure or how we approach things, or like Jessica talked about within process. It's not about just sticking to this process, but building a community that can adapt to changes in that process on a whim if necessary. And that is something that I do think we have achieved and that we are continually achieving. It's a dynamic system, and so things are going to constantly evolve. And so when somebody says, I want more governance or I want more, you know, funds or recognition and things like that, those might be kind of needs for the individual, but the system is not going to provide that for you in the long run. Like, it's going to be a dynamic system. It's always going to change, and the power that you once had will diminish over time, no matter what. And so keeping that in mind, that, you know, the system versus the community are two very separate things that should be approached in two very distinct ways, is something that I think we should all kind of keep in mind. And so when it comes to the impact hour decision making, like, I want to avoid the conflict that goes on, and sometimes I'm very harsh and very critical about the way we approach things. But being able to get through that and making sure that we have a community, and it's something I just realized in that past call, the last call on SoftGov, and the debate, it was that, you know, if this were like, if I were in a normal company or normal organization, I would have a huge problem with what just happened, you know, like, but we do have a community that can say, okay, and I'm talking with people who are like, we're all equals here, like in terms of just like how we approach problems and how we debate things. And therefore we do have all these other options that are presented to us, different pathways that we can interact with, where in a normal situation where we do have a lot of hierarchy and a lot of authority, that would never be possible. And that's something that's beautiful, and it's new and it's different. And like Jessica said, like, it's something that we have to adapt to, because our minds do not think in those traditional, you know, those manners traditionally. And so something that I've had to grow and change myself. So, you know, I just think that in the long term, what we're trying to do is design a system that's sustainable for the commons and not necessarily the individuals within the commons. The people will come and go, but the system is what we want to maintain over the long run. And so when we talk about governance and stuff like that, I want to set up our governance system in a way that makes this common sustainable over long periods of time, and that will last the test of time, and not necessarily meeting my needs or anybody else's needs. I think that's up to the community and us as individuals to accomplish. So, yeah, and so I just wanted to say that, and I will pass it on to Livy.
I don't know if I have much to say now. I'm feeling a little bit quiet, but I'm enjoying listening to everyone. I will pass.
I want to say also something before you pass it, please. Sorry, and is that for me it's super interesting that I always foster dialogue, and with dialogue, what I like to do is like to take one position from one side, one position from the other side, and try to build a common ground between those two. But what I have seen in the talk, in the vote, and the way we have behaved in the community is that we have, instead of trying to build a common ground, we have each side try to pull to their side. So instead of like building a common ground, we are polarizing even more. And that was what I was trying to say with like the name of Praise Mageddon. It's like, okay, let's and we are each like pulling to our side and not trying to build from a common ground. So it's not like we are against each other. It's not like we are opposites or that we are contraries. Here in this common pool resource, like we are all like in the same setting. So like instead of trying to like draw the other to our side, we need to like build this common ground. That's my like my perspective of the dynamic that we're having right now, that instead of polarizing, we should try to build a common ground. But yeah, it's hard, and that's why we are talking and yeah, and expressing our needs, because our feelings are the reflect of our needs. Yeah, Livy, sorry, you wanted to pass it.
Yeah, maybe something I want to say, not really related to the needs, but I've been listening to a lot of like what we call the royal we's or us or shoulds, or like a lot of I think it's really hard to talk only in the first person, but it's a really good practice because look, I was going to do it right now. Like I was going to say, because we end up like, I don't really know about the other. Like sometimes I think it's invasive to include the other in all of my opinions. And maybe it's a good practice. Just a reflection I had now of like, I see that often I speak in a generalizing way, and even for my self accountability and responsibility, I will commit to try speaking more in the first person and try not imposing shoulds or woulds to other people as well. I'll pass to Sam.
Hello, Sam. Yes, we are talking about the different needs around this project, because we were seeing a lot of feelings, but we are trying to get to the root, like what are the needs that are triggering those feelings? What are the needs that make us propose certain ideas over the others? So yeah, where does each of the different sides stand in this discussion, and what are the interests that they have behind their communications?
Sam, come here. Parla per aquí.
Well, I think that nobody was listening to me, and now maybe it's better. I just came very late, so I just wanted to hear a little bit, and I think that I just want to hear more before talking.
I have one question that I would like to make. Like, for you, what are the needs of someone who has a skin in the game around this project?
No. I mean, I cannot talk about from
Or
everyone who has a skin in
what
the
are your
game.
needs?
I can talk from me.
What are your needs? Only talk about yourself. Yeah, just listening to what Livy said. Don't try to talk about the others. Just try to talk about yourself. What were your needs? What were the motivations that brought you to this project? And yeah.
Okay, I have to say that at the moment, uh, I the motivation have been changing along all these months. At the moment, what my need is finish finish the project in some way that okay, let's please let's launch the hatch, let's do the commons upgrade. My need really is like go vacation. This is my need right now. But also why I am doing what I'm doing, why I am here. I think that it has been changing at the very beginning. It was like let's launch something that it resembles in some way one hive. Let's do the one hive upgraded in some way. Let's keep continuing with these things. But I was not into token engineering, and now I started to like it. This is not going to be all the things that I am going to do. I also have other projects that I would also like to share with the community that are not related with TE, but I enjoy working with YGG, for example. I enjoy doing things with DAOs, working with Paulo on the EVM scripter. I don't know. Then there are things that I don't like. That I hope we can. I can fix in some way, because I also like to come back to my life. In some way, the COVID has made my life very different than what I wanted. And now that COVID is in some way, we are, not everyone, but we see the light at the end of the tunnel. I need to rearrange my life, and so first I need to. We need to launch the hatch, and then I will be less involved for some months probably. I don't know if that is exactly what you wanted to hear, but more or less these are my feelings.
It's very interesting because you talked about there is people that have other projects, and there's people that only started with this project. So there are other projects, and this is not like the last project that we are going to be building, and we want long-lasting relationships, and it's good. And also that as there are some people who is like asking for more time, there are also people who is asking for less time, like to as you're doing. So it's for us to understand that we don't only stand from the position we see things, but that this we have to take into account the standing point of each of every one of us. So like for some of us, or for some of on the community, it's easy to say, hey, let's extend the boat, or let's extend the hatch. But also that messes with needs from certain people of the community, like the ones you have just mentioned.
But I don't think that extending the vote will make any difference. I will not block this decision, because I think that it just we are already months behind the schedule. So come on.
Okay.
I just wanted to say it's been a long time. I just wanted to share my I am a little bit tired. That's all. But we are almost there.
Okay. Do you want to pass it to someone?
Yeah. I don't know who already went.
Dylan, I think it's the last one. Oh,
Okay.
Nate. No,
Nate already went.
Yeah.
Okay, and I got some break from the rain too, so good. Yeah, so my needs coming to Token Engineering Commons was to see what conflict resolution and nonviolent communication can look like in the real world settings, and like how, and also just to be around brilliant people who are working towards a worthy mission. Series, all constellation of worthy missions, all nested within and around this. So that's really, and like, of course we all have like financial needs, but that's all sort of like delayed intentionally into some extended future anyway. That's not the most pressing concern either for me. Yeah, I don't know, but I've definitely been fulfilled in all the ways. Thanks everyone making this possible, this community participate.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, because like I feel the same. What I came for in the TC, I already received it, and it's like great friends, sharing my ideas, being part of a community, and now like the token, yeah, it has a value, and it measures. It's an unity of measurement. But for me, the biggest value that I have gotten from this project, I already received it. I feel the same as you do. So yeah, then now that we are it's all saying our needs, and we can understand each other better. Like I also think like, okay, then let's try to use this perspective, or this um, um, this integration into the analysis that we are doing, because are we overvaluing even the impact hours, or are we, what is the value that is behind the impact hours? Is it governance? um, so yeah, and in that way we can also understand what are the different positions around the interest, and what moves each of one feelings. Does anyone has something they want to share? Do you feel that this exercise was useful? Do you feel, what have you what has been your insights from this exercise? Like, yeah, my insight from this exercise has been that, like, I already have received from this community like one of the best experiences in my life, and I feel that whatever has to come for me, I would do it happy, um, and I would love to continue with working with this community. And for me, like, yeah, the community, it comes first, and I would prefer to have like a bad distribution than like friction the community around changes. And if there are changes, I would only like the changes if they are like well accepted, well communicated, and well felt for everyone. Because yeah, the thing that we are going to change now it's the distribution of the token, but there are much more value that is being delivered and that is being produced behind the token, and that is not maybe reflected with that. So yeah, it's not to have an answer, but more to make ourselves even more questions, to know where we stand, and to know, yeah, what are our needs, and behind that trigger our feelings and our actions. So yeah, I, like maybe maybe this discussion, even though that is reflecting and is around impact hours, maybe it also has some variables that we are not taking into account, and is maybe recognition within the community, and other types of value that we are saying that some of us have already received even before the token distribution. Because yeah, then why is that we are only seeing the value in the token distribution and not in the community?
I guess I'll just say, and I know we have 4 minutes, and I also have a call in 4 minutes, but I just wanted to say, Nate, I super appreciated what you said about resilience. I think that's really important in these contexts, and I don't think, Juan, anyone's saying that there isn't value in the community, and why there is hyper focus on the impact hours, I would say, is just because for me it's setting a precedent, and this has big ripples across the space. So I think it's maybe, and what you said about common ground, I mean, why are things more polarized? I don't think it has to do with memes. I might disagree on that. I think it's just like a fun meme thing, like we do often in the TEC. But I think we tried to do sense making, and I think some of the proposals did reflect less polarizing, trying to see common ground. I can speak for myself, Tam and Livia. I thought our proposals were intentionally moderate in order to try and find like some smaller solution that may be kind of a compromise. But yeah, as we saw, the votes, although if you combine those three proposals, they would have been a higher contender. So I think, yeah, I think it's an interesting continuing exploration into how these dynamics work. And I appreciate you holding the space to dive deeper. And also I appreciate listening to Zepti and Sem, though Sem left, because I haven't had a chance to hear too much from them and their needs. And I also would like to have a vacation. So yeah, let's start with the common ground being we need a vacation. And I think, yeah, thanks for holding the space for this. We could talk for a long time. We still have a lot of challenges around figuring out moving forward. But I think this is the test of how resilient this community really is. So it's an opportunity. And I think also we have like voice and exit. If people really, really, really disagree, they may exit the community, but I think that's what we're trying to avoid. So I think for me also some of a reaction or like the polarization or the amplification has come as a result of some of the personal dynamics. Like if a voice isn't heard, they feel they have to shout louder. So I think shouting louder is a reflection of people feeling that their voices haven't been heard. So I think that's part of the amplification dynamic. But yeah, I like what Nate said, and I think for me as well, I would like to aim for resilience. And Z talks about the ship of Theseus. If you haven't read it, Google it. It's really cool. Like this concept that ship of Theseus, where there's like, I think it was in ancient Greece, a ship goes out to battle and it's a couple of years, and by the time it comes back, nothing on the ship is the same. Not one crew member, not one piece of wood on that ship is the same. And I think if we're building resilient systems, this is like a very good thought exercise or like mental model to think about in these systems. But Nate, although you said resilience, I do care for people having individual needs and coming to community to seek those needs. So we can honor both, I think, as well. But thank you, Juan, and thanks everybody.
Thank you, Jess, and thank everyone. Like, I do these activities with the most humbleness that I can, and only with the intention of helping, and helping of everyone understand where, like, our own motivations, our own inner feelings. Like, for me, this has been like, as I have said since the beginning of the call, I was a newcomer to the space, and for me, like, just being able to help and to collaborate in this is just like, I feel honored, and yeah, I just have the best intentions to continue trying to build the best community that we can, because also, like, I think that we are making history, and that it's the best when you feel that what you're doing is helping others, and is making, and is being meaningful to for bigger things. So yeah, thanks everyone, and thank you, Jess, for sharing.